Hi guys, in this video we'll discuss about the ANSYS Fluent UDFs or mostly used UDFs in regular works or regular simulations. I'll just show you the UDFs what I'm going to explain in this video. So one is the velocity profile, that inlet velocity profile, what we'll try to give it to the ANSYS Fluent as an interpreted UDF or compiled UDF. So before going in deep into these UDFs, I'll just want to discuss the difference between interpreted UDF and compiled UDF. So in the interpreted UDF, when each iteration is been called, so the UDF will also automatically get called each and every time. But whereas the compiled UDF, it would be attached to the tool itself. So you need not call UDF each and every time when the iteration is getting iterated. So it will save more amount of time when you take with the compiled UDF. So compiled UDFs would give your more flexibility and less time when compared to the interpreted UDFs. And many of the UDFs that you use in ANSYS Fluent, you should go with the compiled format, because there is some restrictions from the ANSYS Fluent itself in order to use the interpreted UDFs. So in this way, compiled UDFs are much more flexible and less time taking compared to the interpreted UDFs. And if now you can see on the screen the velocity profile what we are getting defined. And just for an example, I have taken this domain. So now you can see here from this phase, I will say that water is been entering. Yeah, so from this phase water is been entering. So now each phase, so this is the total phase out of which we have discretized using the meshing or cell elements. So this is 1 2 3 4 5 6. So these are the total number of phases from which water is entering. So I just don't want the water to have same velocity at each and every point or at each and every phase. So I just want to define it using a profile. So that profile I have shown here. So this is the profile through which I want to define. So I'll start with the thing. So it is a real x of nd comma nd, sorry, nd hyphen nd, so which signifies it is a array which is having this as its position vectors. So how many it can hold? So it can hold 0 1 2. So 0 1 2 are the dimensions of the our regular structure. So it can be only up to 3 dimensions because we are using 0 1 2 in regular. So if is nd hyphen nd is 0, it indicates x direction. If nd hyphen nd is 1, it indicates y direction. If nd hyphen nd is 3, sorry 2, it indicates z direction. Real y, so y signifies a variable which is of a character type real. And phase underscore tf, so f is a phase variable which signifies the phase. Now I am trying to begin a loop. So begin a loop means begin a loop on phase variable f with the thread t. So it means I am trying to loop over this phase with each and every phase. So initially the phase 1 would be called. So if I can state this as one phase, this is second phase, third phase, fourth phase. So each and every time when the looping happens, each and every phase would be called. So first phase, now it will go and try to record the centroid. F underscore centroid means the phase centroid of x comma f comma t. So of this phase, it tries to acquire the centroid. And we all know that centroid, as it a phase centroid, we can have x and y coordinates, both coordinates. So among that, I'm asking it only to give the y coordinate. X of 1 means y coordinate. So y coordinate will go and tries to save in the y variable. So now that y variable would have the y coordinate of the centroid. Now I am trying to define with this profile. So this profile, it means it is 4y divided by 0.05 minus 4y square minus 4y square divided by 0.0025 into 0.018 into 0.018. So this is the velocity profile what I want to have on these faces. So y is the centroid of each and every face. So now this would be the velocity profile with which this face would be patched for the velocity. Understood? So this is a brief explanation how you try to patch it with having a loop over all the faces on the inlet, and after that we will create this end f loop. So it means the loop would be ended. So from begin f loop it starts from 1, and end of loop it goes up to here, this point. Set this point, this is the end, this is the start. Similarly, I'll just show you this temperature profile. So inlet can have a velocity profile, similarly inlet can have a temperature profile, isn't it? So now from this case you can think what exactly it does. So now here the temperature profile is dependent on y with respect to this equation. So that equation I'll just show it in algebraic way. So here temperature profile is equals to 31.5 into T, sorry, it is into Y, it's not T, into Y divided by 0.05 divided by 0.05 plus 283.15. So this is the temperature profile with which these phases would be patched. So similarly from begin F loop, you can see begin F loop, right? So from begin F loop each and every phase would be called, and from that phase the centroid would be saved. That y y dimension or y coordinate of that centroid would be saved in this y named variable, and that would be used in order to give the temperature profile. Again it is end f loop, so the loop would be ended. So in this way we'll try to patch each and every phase with different temperature profiles which vary with respect to the y coordinate. So I hope this is clear. Now we will go to the next one, which is define property. This is other most significant UDF that we generally use in Fluent. So where we need to define the properties. If you use a nanofluid, if you use any other fluid which is having a conductivity or density or any other thing which is variable with respect to the temperature or velocity or anything. So now here I am considering this define property. So define property is generally used for a cell variable, it is not a phase variable. So I'll just show you the cell what I have considered. So you can check, this is the domain which has different cells. For example, I will take this as cell 1, this is cell 2, this is cell 3, cell 4. You can see, right? So each is a different cell. So now each cell would have a different conductivity which is a variable with respect to temperature. As we know, water has a variable conductivity with respect to temperature. Nanofluid has a different conductivity with variable with respect to temperature, volume fraction of nanoparticles, density, and everything. So in that scenario we will try to use this one. So define property k nu c comma t, where c is a cell, in the f is a phase, c is the cell indication, and t is a thread. So now I will try to define real KTC. It is a variable indication. KTC is one variable, POC ND hyphen ND is another variable, which is a 3-dimension variable, which can, sorry, it is an array which can store 0, 1, 2. So POS of 0 is x coordinate, POS 1 is y coordinate, POS 2 is z coordinate, and real y is a variable. Again we are trying to find the centroid of POS comma C comma T. So POS means it tries to find out each and every cell centroid. So now it has 0, 1, 2, but in the previous case it is f of centroid. So f underscore centroid would have only two variables or two dimensions, x and y, but it has 3 dimensions here. In that I am trying to select y equals to pos of 1. So it means I am trying to select only y coordinate. So, and I am also trying to acquire the temperature of that cell on which I just want to have a variable property. So that temperature is C underscore T comma C. C underscore T means it is the indication that we are getting the temperature of a cell, the cell with a variable C comma 3. So C comma T is a C is a cell variable C and T is a thread. So in this thread it will go from each and every part. So this is the entire domain which has so many number of cells. From each cell, cell 1, cell 2, cell 3, cell 4, it will go from each and every cell. From each and every cell it will tries to acquire the temperature. So now for example, as it goes through a loop, it will have only first cell temperature. So C is 1, so C1, it means C suffix 1, and the temperature thread is that cell thread, it indicates the cell thread. So that C underscore 1, so if you can take this, so this is the C underscore 1. So the C suffix 1 or underscore 1, anything. So the C suffix 1 would have some temperature. That temperature would be kept in real temp. So it is a temporary variable on which we are storing the temperature. With respect to that temperature, we use that temperature and we use the y coordinate of that centroid, and we'll try to find the thermal conductivity KTC, and we'll try to return that KTC. So each and every time when the iteration is going on, so in each and every iteration, each and every cell again would be called. So for each iteration, all these cells will be solved. So when each and every cell would be solved, it tries to execute this loop. So when it is executing that loop, it tries to calculate this KTC, and this KTC would be taken as the new thermal conductivity. So now the thermal conductivity is a variable with respect to temperature and as well as position. So in this way it is very helpful in order to have a variable thermal conductivity. So I think this made you had you given some insight. Now I try to show you some other properties where it is much useful in multiphase, where we are trying to use a saturation temperature which is a variable with respect to the vapor pressure. As we all know that saturation temperature is dependent on vapor pressure. As a vapor pressure changes, saturation temperature also changes. So now if the vapor pressure is 1 atmosphere, saturation temperature is 373 Kelvin for water. But it's not always the same. If the vapor pressure changes, saturation temperature changes. So that variability I have incorporated here. So this property is also a cell based property. It is not a phase based property because we need to go for calculation for each and individual cell. So in that case I am going to define a property or saturation temperature, and I am trying to call these variables real sat underscore T, real vapor underscore P. These are all the variables declaration, and here in this variable declaration I am trying to call C underscore P. C underscore P means it is a cell pressure I am trying to acquire from the domain. So initially we are acquiring temperature, but now we are trying to acquire the pressure of each and every cell. So after acquiring the pressure from each and every cell, that would be stored in the static underscore P. Now I'm trying to calculate the operating pressure, which is already been defined in the ANSYS Fluent tool, that is RP underscore get underscore real underscore operating pressure. So this pressure we are giving in the operation conditions tab. So in order to get into the Fluent UDF, we use this statement. So after getting that operating pressure, I will try to add the static pressure with the operating pressure in order to get the actual vapor pressure. It's like absolute pressure what I am talking about. So after getting that absolute pressure, I am using this Arrhenius equation. This equation is called Arrhenius equation, in which I am using this vapor underscore P in order to get the saturation temperature. Now this saturation temperature goes back to the defined property. So now it will be again sent to the Fluent in order to solve. So this is the way how the saturation temperature variability I am getting with respect to the vapor pressure. So now if the vapor pressure changes again and again with respect to the cell, the saturation temperature would also be changing. So this you can give in the Lee model or mixture model, anyway use the saturation temperature. And finally I just want to show you how to define a source term. So in general, we cannot fix ourselves to the Navier-Stokes equation or continuity equation. So there will be so many situations where we need to solve apart from the regular equations. So if you go for a magnetohydrodynamics or ferrohydrodynamics or any degassing formula, or if any other extra source term that need to be get involved in the fluid, it can be a momentum source term, or it can be a continuity source term, or it can be an energy source term that need to be added to the regular equation in order to solve our extra part. So in those cases, or in those scenarios, how you need to handle the problem. So I'll just show you a small bit. So now this is my source term, what I intend to add to my x momentum equation, right? So apart from the regular Navier-Stokes equation, this is the extra source term what I am intend to add to the x momentum equation. So that source term I have simplified and I've written in the format of minus a modulus of vx and vx. So a is nothing but 0.5 c2 rho y. So c2 is a constant now, and the dou s by dou vx is nothing but minus a into hyphen or modulus of vx minus a into vx of dou y dou x into modulus of vx. So why I have written in this way, I'll just show it to you. Now I'll just so now you can see here. So this is a UDF we need to write in order to incorporate the source term. So half has defined C2 over 100. This is a constant what I have said previously. So now define source x momentum underscore source. So this is a name you can give anything. It's not a big deal. And CTDS equation. This is a format or a syntax what you need to follow, where C is a cell variable, T is a thread, DS is the derivative with respect to the source term what you want to introduce. So if it is an x momentum source term, so now ds is nothing but ds of dvx. If it is a y momentum source term, it is ds by dvy. If it is z momentum source term, it is ds by dvz. If it is an energy source term, it is ds by dt. Temperature is the variable there, right? I think I made sense to you. So that is a ds, and this is the equation what we want to incorporate. Similarly, real of x of nd of nd. So this is a variable declaration which has 3 dimensions x, y, z, and these are the 2 extra terms what I have declared. Now similarly, I'm calling the c underscore centroid of x comma c comma t. So what happens? It tries to call each and every cell's centroid, and it will store in this variable. So when the iteration is happening, for each iteration it will goes to each and every cell. So for single cell, for example, you take for cell number 1 what I have defined here. So this is a cell number 1, it will goes to cell number 1, and after going to cell number 1, it tries to acquire the centroid which is x of 0, x of 1, x of 2. It means x coordinate, y coordinate, z coordinate. But out of these I'm just trying to use only y coordinate, because I am having only y coordinate as my variable. You can see here y coordinate as my variable. So I use that y coordinate as variable. C underscore r is nothing but density of the cell number 1 what I need to take into a 0.5 into C2. C2 is already defined as 100. So now the source f abs is nothing but absolute term. So we generally defined this term. Modulus is nothing but absolute value, it doesn't have any negative values, so that is being taken care by f abs. And the c underscore u is nothing but the x component velocity what I am taking from the each and every cell. In this simulation it is a cell 1, after that cell 2, cell 3, cell 4, it goes on continuing up till and all the cells are been covered for each and every iteration, right? So this would be taken in the terms of source. ds of equation, it is ds of equation means derivative with respect to vx, because we are talking only about x momentum. So already we have found the derivative of vx. It is nothing but minus 2a f abs vx, right? So ds of vx is minus 2a. A is nothing but constant into f abs vx. So f abs vx is c underscore u c of t. So now it returns the source term, it will saved in the each and every cell. So each and every cell, apart from continuity and momentum equation, it also solve this source term. So I think I had made sense to you guys in how to use these profiles, properties, and the source terms in the ANSYS Fluent. So please subscribe the channel and encourage me in doing more number of videos. And if you have any comments, please place in the comment section. And if you have any queries, you can contact me through the mail ID what I have mentioned in the description. Thank you.